Yeah.
Instead of doing
We're doing this, we're over, yeah. We're doing this on the screen because Renee made some great feedback last week. She said it would have been nice to see your fingers. See what feedback does?
There,
So
there.
when we have finger to teach, we thought this would be a good, huh?
We don't need to see his face. We need to
No,
see
we don't need
I mean, we like his face.
He's the headless uke player, is what he is today.
no difference.
Probably do it like
There he
that
is.
without even.
The warm.
So the reason we're thinking the blues, it is such a vital part of music, and there's a lot of things it does for you as a ukulele player. Number one, the formula is so popular, and as we go through today, you're gonna go, I had no idea that song was a 12-bar blues song. But it also helps you become more comfortable with the song when you recognize that it is a 12-bar blues form, and also it helps you memorize. You'll hear a song and you go, oh, I can just tell that's da, I can hear it, I can hear the 12-bar blues. So today we're gonna talk about, it's on your sheet, the checklist. Those are the things we're going to do today. We're getting very savvy with our attendance. You know, Bill and I were talking yesterday. I am the clinical technician trainer. Bill is the groovy musician. So we gave you a checklist of the things that we're going to do today so that you understand where we're going and how much we're going to do. And so, Bill, why don't you start us off and cover that first page, the meaning of the I,
This is my
B,
first page.
and the B. The first page, 12-bar blues. Thank you.
First page.
This one. I'll be the,
I got the one that's, okay,
this one.
that's the one that I don't have. Right here.
I got it. That one.
Gosh, you didn't study.
You didn't,
Okay.
it is
So,
time, I'm here for you, babe.
So, 145 designates the numbers of the chords in any given key. For instance, in the key of C, if we number each letter going up a number, C is 1, D is 2, E is 3, what's 4? F is the 4 chord. And 5 is G. And the 5 chord often in this format is a 7th chord. Not necessarily or not always, but a lot of times the 7th gives it an unresolved introductory to the next chord, which is usually a 1 again. So if we're playing in C, and then, okay, so let me stop there. That's the chords, the 1, 4, 5. In a key of A, if A is the 1, what's the 4 chord?
D. D.
D. A, B, C, D. And the 1 chord is always 1, there's no 0. It's not that kind of math. So, A, B, C, D. D is the 4th chord, then what's the 5? E and E7, you can parenthesize 7 because sometimes there's a 7, sometimes not. Okay, what would the key, in the key of G, what would the 5 chord be?
C. D. C. Oh. G. C. D. D. It's D.
5.
D.
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 Did you say?
Is that we count G as one?
Right?
Oh,
G.
I counted the G as 1. G is
When you have to be,
Yeah, D.
but you can't, right, so, yeah, so just think, G, A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4. C is the 4, D is the 5 then.
Is it usually a D7? Are they, how often are they 7?
On the 5th, pretty
It's-
often.
It's quite a bit, especially at the end of the phrase of the format of 12 bar, not always, but, and sometimes it becomes personal choice too. It sets up a change, like if someone were, see how that sounds like it's ready to go into something else? It either turns it back around, or say there's a soloist, so the soloist takes off at that point with those same chords behind it. It just kind of, and next, that seventh just, it hangs there to introduce the next part of the song, or a turnaround or something. Okay, so now as far as the number of measures that each one gets there, it's a different page.
Page 2, I've got it, I'll show you.
No, I've
I'll
got
be
it.
the Vanna.
Okay,
This one,
you
wait,
can explain that a little bit.
sure,
When you refer to a bar and a measure, it's the same thing.
right. When you
Yes,
refer to,
right.
before I start, does anybody need, you're gonna need a writing utensil today. Anybody need one?
I do. One.
I'll look at some pencil here.
That's
Ah,
perfect. Oh.
Yeah, you got a friend, you got a friend. Linda, you have a writing utensil? Pages, okay, they're over here.
Perfect.
Go get 'em. So, this page
I've
that
got
I'm
a
gonna,
pen if somebody wants. and
this
somebody
page right
just
here is
doesn't
where
make
we're
mistakes.
talking about. So as Harold just said, a measure and a bar are the same thing. It's just a different term, different way of saying it. So when we say 12 bar blues, we're talking about 12 measures of what's happening. So when we talk about the 12 form of the 12 bar blues, the measures are, in the first measure, it's the 1 chord. And what's the 1 chord?
Whatever key you're.
Whatever key you're in, whatever key you're in. So if you're in the key of C, the 1 is the C, or the root. Sometimes it's called the root chord. So the 1 is always the key you're in, right? So the standard form for 12 bar blues is measure 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4 of C, right? The second measure is 1, 2, 3, 4 of C. Third measure is 1, 2, 3, 4 of C. Fourth measure is 1, 2, 3, 4 of C. And then on the fifth measure, it changes to the 4. So in the key of C, what's the 4? C, D, E, F, right? F. The sixth measure would be another F. And then we're back to the seventh measure. 4 beats of that. And so what chord is that? C. Does that make sense so far? Okay, I'm seeing some puzzled faces. You're okay, or are you just trying to focus your glasses? Because sometimes I feel like, what's wrong, Marcy? I'm like, I'm just thinking. The eighth measure is the chord of C again, right? The 1. The ninth is now the fifth chord, which is G or G7. The 10th is G7. The 11th is back to C. Right? And sometimes the 12th, if we're going to end the song, you stay on C. If we're going to repeat it again, you can play the 5th, the G7, to turn it, as Bill
That's
says.
that turnaround seventh.
That
I was
turnaround.
talking
And what
about.
it's saying, that little chord is saying, let's do it again and go.
Because you see how that chord doesn't sound like the end of the song, nor is it. It indicates something else is coming.
Something else is coming, because if you turn the song, if you're going to play this phrase again, you're on now 2 measures of C at the end, and now 4 more at the beginning. So that's 6 measures of C run together. That's kind of boring. Does that make sense? So at the end, so what it would be like, so here's that line in the key of C. And Bill, if you want to join me, you can, in the key of C. So it would be C, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3. Third measure, 3, 2, 3, 4. Fourth measure, 2. The F, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6.
2,
Back to 1,
7,
2, 3, 4, and 8, 2. The G7, 1,
9, 2, 3, 4,
10, 2. Back to C.
11,
We're going to end it, so we would do C.
12, 2, 3, 4.
And you can do 1 strum if that's the
And
end
then
of the
you can
song.
just strum once.
I'm steaming up my glasses and so on. I'm taking up part of my Johnny. So
you
that's,
did the, you
yes?
did the 7 on the 9th bar, 9th and 10th.
I I did the seventh, I did a G7 for the fifth chord.
Right, so,
Typically, the fifth chord is a seventh. It can be, or it can be not be, but usually it's a seventh because the seventh chords sound more bluesy.
so
And
not just the turnaround, but.
not just the turnaround, but anytime there's a 5, you can typically play a 7, and I would in most songs. And today, as we go through some songs, you'll see where maybe that's different. So before, this is a big deal. Let's clarify, this is huge. This is a big part of our day, so this is a good time to say, I don't get it, if you don't get it.
I was just clarifying, so the turnaround would be on the 12th bar?
On the 12th bar.
Yep.
So that one can be at the 1 or the 5. The 1 would mean we're gonna end it, because now, da, 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 you're ending it. If we're gonna do it again, we would do the 5 to say, let's do that again and go, right?
Or if the next thing that came after that 12th bar, the next set of music, if you didn't want to set it up quite so to go, if you just wanted to keep playing along and then smoothly, without much dynamic change, go into the next part, you wouldn't have to put a second on the end either. It's kind of personal preference. You can hear, as you experience this more and listen to more music and play more with it, you'll hear where there's sometimes just a major chord, sometimes there's a 7. And it's kind of the artist's choice or the player's choice.
So that's
But you'll hear the difference if
Yeah.
you play.
So that's illustrated. That line we did is just illustrated in the key of A, about the middle of the page where it says, see it, it's the first one that has the letter A. That's the very same thing. 4 measures of A, 2 of D, 2 of A, 2 of E7. So it's just showing you that that's the pattern. That's a standard 12. That's the one that everybody knows. That's the one that you can memorize so quickly. And the best way to memorize it is go, there's 4, then there's 2, and then back to 2, and then I'm back to 2, and then I'm back to 2, you know, it does.
So in other words, those first 2 lines are showing you the number of the chords, the number designation. And the second 2 lines are showing you the letter designation in the key of
An
A.
example. So the second bar, the second one under the one we just did, it can vary. So in 12-bar blues, sometimes the 4 chord will come in the second measure. It's very common. And let's see. I was trying to think. Key to the highway is the fifth chord. But so in this case it would be, if we were doing C, it would be, if you want to strum with me, it would be C. Are you ready? Or you could, let's do the A. So if you want to follow along, you can follow in the middle there, all right? Let's try a different one. So it would be A, 2, 3, 4, and B, 2, 3, 4, third measure. Put on your inner blues. There's the Wonder Boy. We're on the 7th bar. Hi, David. We're on the 8th measure. We're on the 9th now. We're on the 10th. We're on the 11th. Let's turn it on the 12th. So that's just showing you it can vary a little bit, and today we'll show you some examples of how much, you know, some variations that you can say, oh yeah, that's still a 12-bar blues, but there's just a little variance. So does it make sense how the formulas work as far as, you know, how it sounds? And we're going to play so many songs today, you'll go, I have no idea that was a 12-bar blues. So sometimes blues are played all in 7s because they sound bluesier. So it's just the same thing. You're just playing 7s because it's bluesier. How familiar are you with the blues?
I don't know, Sam, I don't know what you
There's the blues. We'll talk about that today. It also can be played in minors. Can A have a minor? Yeah. Can D have a minor? Yeah. And can E have a minor? And sometimes it's combined. Sometimes it's a minor, and then the 4 and 5 chord could be a 7th, and then it goes back to a minor. We've got an example of that today. So basically, that's the formula. So should we give it, we've got a fun activity planned. Are you ready?